Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I've started to notice a bit of a worrying trend in the bird photography world when it comes to AI, which I predicted would happen. My prediction was somebody would just snap a little dot in the sky with their mobile phone, tell AI to make it look like it was taken with a high-powered telephoto lens, and it was only 50 feet away, and then AI would give them a beautiful photo of a bird looking like it was taken by a professional wildlife photographer working for the National Geographic. I even gave it a little go for the purpose of this video. I opened my window, found the first bird I could see, and it was a starling on an aerial. Snapped a picture, cropped in, told AI to clean this up, make it look like it was taken with a professional camera, and the bird wasn't very far. That is amazing. I went even further still and I said, zoom right in on the starling. Now, if that was just online, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference if it was real or not. It is so good. I've actually already seen this on a bird photography group on Facebook. A photographer that has no reason to use AI snapped a picture of a bird in the distance, said it was a mile away, and then made it look like it was taken 20 feet away. They didn't put anything in the description about it being AI, but AI's own filters put the warning up. The complete opposite side of this, I've seen people say, sorry this is so dark and grainy, but I refuse to use AI to fix it. Now, well, I admire that. Now, if you've been following my content for a few years, you'll know where I stand when it comes to keeping videos and photos authentic. But lately, I have been staring down a bit of a personal contradiction. I have been using software for the last few years with AI in the title. The first one was Topaz AI, and then you'll know DxO reached out to me to make me an affiliate and give me a code for their software. All of these softwares, whether it's Photoshop, Lightroom, Topaz, DxO, use AI in different ways to edit. So the question did hit me, if I was so against AI, why was I using DxO to edit my photos? It's a completely fair question. I've even had comments from people saying, will my content get flagged for AI if I use DxO? Like I said, I've used Topaz for about 2 years and then DxO for almost a year. None of my content was ever flagged with an AI notice. So basically, social media is saying if you use something like DxO, it's not cheating. So today we're going to draw a giant line in the sand. Now there is a world of difference using AI to reconstruct a photo that you actually took and using AI to generate a piece of fiction. Let's break down why one preserves integrity while the other completely destroys it. Let's start with the tool that handles the dirty work, Reconstructive AI. This includes products like my own DxO Pure Raw and Photolab, or the latest Adobe Lightroom processing engines. As a bird and outdoor photographer, we are constantly at the mercy of the outdoor elements. If a rare bird lands in a dark canopy at 5 AM, you're going to have no choice but to crank up your ISO. On any camera, especially an APS-C camera like I have, that's going to create a lot of digital noise. Now, when you pass that image through a reconstructive program like DxO, the machine learning model isn't inventing anything new. It has been trained on millions of images to understand the mathematical physics between digital noise versus real-world textures like feathers. It looks at the messy pixels your sensor captured, and essentially it solves a complex puzzle, separating the random grain from the genuine micro details. Think of it like this. It's the modern digital equivalent of choosing a specific chemical developer or using advanced dodging techniques in traditional film development. You aren't altering the truth of the scene, you are simply clearing away the technical limitations of your camera's hardware to reveal the exact moment your eyes actually witnessed. It's utility, not creativity. Right, let's talk about where the road completely splits. Generative AI. This is where we talk about Photoshop's generative fill, Midjourney, or Adobe Firefly. Generative software doesn't care about the pixels you captured. Its entire job is to invent brand new data based on tech prompts and algorithm guesses. Let's say you're tracking a raptor and you're just a fraction of a second too slow and clip the wingtip out of frame. If you were using generative AI, you would put in the prompt, fix the wing. The computer then looks at millions of images of the same bird online and uses that to create a completely invented wingtip. It looks incredibly convincing and it might even get you millions of likes on social media. But the second you do that, it is no longer a photograph. It's digital art. Yes, controversial. You are creating a moment that your sensor never captured. In wildlife photography, documentary work, or photojournalism, this is where the line is crossed. If a tool is adding extra elements that your sensor never saw, it completely strips away the honesty of your craft. This distinction is why most of the big photography competitions in the world don't allow any generative AI, but they will allow global denoising and sharpening. This is why my approach to using something like DxO is total transparency. It's reconstructive, not generative, and it will not be flagged. So if you're struggling to draw your own line in the editing room, I use a simple two-part rule to keep myself honest. 1. If a tool fixes the technical limitations of my camera, like sensor noise, it stays. 2. If a tool requires me to type a prompt or to generate a single pixel that my sensor didn't see, it goes in the bin. AI is moving at incredible speed, and it's more important than ever that us photographers need to be completely authentic. So I'd like to know where you stand on this. Does denoising a photo ruin the integrity for you? Or is it just a smart way to shoot as of 2026?